In the automotive world, there is one brand that means reliability, Toyota, and one car that proved it, the Prius, the hybrid that changed everything. By 2009, it had sold 1.2 million units worldwide. It made green cars cool before anyone else even tried. But in 2009, Prius owners started reporting something terrifying. Their brakes were failing, not wearing out, not squeaking, failing.
The Transportation Department announced today that it's received 124 complaints about the cars losing brake power on bumpy or uneven roads.
At highway speeds, the brake pedal would sink to the floor. No warning, no check engine light, just nothing. Toyota's response, software glitch. They were lying, and they knew it. This isn't just a story about faulty brakes. It's a story about a $1.2 billion cover-up, and the document trail that proved Toyota knew exactly what was wrong more than a year before anyone got hurt. They knew. They hid it behind a software patch, and the cover-up cost them $1.2 billion. Here is the question this investigation will answer. When Toyota engineers first documented the brake defect in November 2008, a full year before the first major public complaints, and more than a year before any recall, what did the company actually do about it? The answer, buried in NHTSA subpoena filings and federal court discovery, is worse than you think. To understand the betrayal, you have to understand what the Prius represented. The Kyoto Protocol had been signed. The world was waking up to climate change. And Toyota dropped a bomb. The Prius, the first mass-produced hybrid vehicle in history. A 1.5-liter gasoline engine paired with an electric motor, achieving 52 miles per gallon when most sedans struggled to hit 25. The Prius wasn't just a car. It was a statement. Leonardo DiCaprio drove one. Cameron Diaz drove one. Toyota had made environmentalism cool, profitable, and, most importantly, reliable. By 2009, Toyota had sold over 1.2 million Priuses worldwide. It earned J.D. Power Awards, Consumer Reports' top recommendation in its class, and the highest resale value among compact hybrids. Toyota's global market value had tripled since the Prius launched. They were the most valuable automaker on Earth. But under the hood, there was a problem. Toyota's own internal documents, later obtained through NHTSA subpoenas, show it was identified as early as November 2008. The Prius used a sophisticated brake-by-wire system. Unlike conventional vehicles, where your foot physically pushes hydraulic fluid into the brake calipers, the Prius relied on an electronic brake booster pump assembly. Press the pedal, and a computer decides how much braking force to apply. The problem was in the brake actuator, specifically the accumulator. Over time, an internal leak in the solenoid valves allowed nitrogen to escape the accumulator chamber. When that happened, the brake booster couldn't maintain pressure. The pedal would go soft, then hard, then nothing. Toyota's engineers documented this in an internal technical service bulletin dated November 2008. The bulletin acknowledged reduced brake assist caused by internal accumulator leakage. It recommended replacing the brake booster pump assembly, a repair costing approximately $3,200 per vehicle. Toyota never told customers. Then came the reports. Dozens, then hundreds. In February 2009, a Prius owner in San Diego contacted Toyota's customer hotline. Her 2007 Prius, with 42,000 miles, lost its brakes while pulling into an intersection. She barely avoided a crash. In March 2009, a family in Ohio reported their 2008 Prius lost braking power on Interstate 71 while traveling 68 miles per hour. They managed to coast safely onto the shoulder. The dealership claimed they couldn't reproduce the problem. In May 2009, a driver in Florida struck a guardrail at 35 miles per hour. The police report stated the brake pedal went to the floor. Toyota's internal quality log later categorized the incident as customer driving error. Meanwhile, NHTSA's complaint database showed the same pattern. Between January and December 2009, 124 brake-related complaints were filed against the 2004 to 2009 Prius generation. Comparable vehicles averaged only 9 complaints. Toyota tracked a complaint ratio exceeding 13-to-1. They never mentioned it publicly. When the story finally broke, not from Toyota but through a Japanese newspaper leak in February 2010, Toyota's communications team already had a script prepared. They claimed the issue was nothing more than a software glitch in the anti-lock braking system. A quick reprogramming at the dealership. No hardware problem, no safety risk. The brakes still worked. Drivers simply needed to press harder. This was false. The recall affecting 148,000 Prius models in the United States changed only the ABS activation threshold. It did not address the accumulator leak. It did not replace the defective hardware. It was a software patch applied to a mechanical failure. Internal Toyota correspondence from March 2010, produced during federal discovery, showed engineers explicitly warning management that the software update was insufficient to address the root cause. In February 2010, Toyota recalled 270,000 Prius models globally for the brake software update, describing it as voluntary. In April 2010, NHTSA opened a formal investigation and demanded Toyota's complete internal brake testing archive. In October 2012, a joint NHTSA-NASA study cleared Toyota's electronic systems regarding unintended acceleration, but identified the brake actuator defect as a separate, unresolved issue. Then, in March 2014, the United States Department of Justice filed a criminal charge against Toyota Motor Corporation for wire fraud. The allegation was that Toyota knowingly issued misleading statements about safety issues in 2009 and 2010. The settlement totaled $1.2 billion. At the time, it was the largest criminal penalty ever imposed on an automaker in United States history. Toyota stated that it accepted full responsibility, but it never admitted the brake hardware itself was defective. Not then, not now. Here is the part Toyota doesn't mention in its press releases. In 2020, a federal class action lawsuit was filed on behalf of Prius, Camry, and Avalon hybrid owners. The complaint alleged Toyota systematically denied warranty coverage for the brake booster pump assembly. The brake actuators are no longer manufactured. Toyota discontinued production. Remaining new old stock units now sell for more than $1,000. Used replacements are a gamble. When a second-generation Prius brake actuator fails today, the repair often costs more than the vehicle itself is worth. $1.2 billion in fines. 148,000 vehicles recalled in the United States. 270,000 worldwide, all traced back to one internal document from 2008. If Toyota had replaced every faulty brake actuator in 2008, instead of issuing a software patch that never addressed the root cause, how many Priuses would still be on the road today? The answer to the question we asked at the beginning, what did Toyota actually do, is simple. They issued a software patch they knew would not fix the root cause. They waited while drivers kept reporting brake failures, and when the DOJ finally forced them to pay $1.2 billion, they still never admitted the hardware was defective. They called it a software problem. The documents showed something else. This channel exists because these stories don't end when the headlines do. Subscribe to Auto Underworld. Every week, we uncover the stories the industry doesn't want told. The next one is already in production. You won't want to miss it.